Hey, hi guys, welcome to today's call. I'm super excited for this one. And I'm not gonna just talk around. I'm just gonna introduce you guys to one of our educators, Nate. Okay, he took the time out of his day to help us go through funded trading. So for every single person, guys, who's just starting, who's thinking about starting their trading account, okay, this call will be super crucial for you to learn how to get through these funded trading challenges, okay? Because there's a couple of things that you need to know before you actually get started with this, okay? We don't want you to screw it up. We want you to really pass these challenges, be very, very successful with them, okay? And this is why we got Nate here on today, okay? So let me find you where is it? Okay. So drop some fire in the chat, guys. Drop some fire in the chat. No, not for me, for Nate, guys. Drop some fire in the chat, okay? Let's go. Take it over.
Hey guys, how we doing? First and foremost, I'm very appreciative of being on this call. Throw some sevens in the chat box though for the team that you guys are on first and foremost. And from my own perspective, I always like to know who I'm talking to, the type of audience I'm talking to, especially when it comes to trading. Do me a favor. If you're somebody who's trading on a challenge right now or looking to trade in the challenge, throw the number 1 in the chat box. If you're somebody who's like, hey, I'm on the fence, I've done some research, I just don't know where to go, what to look into, put a 2 in the chat box. And so today we were talking, myself and we were saying, and we were saying, there's some people who want to get in the challenges, but what does it take? And let me just be honest and upfront with you guys. Do I have the permission to just be real with you guys today? If so, throw some flames in the chat box, because this skill set requires, a lot of mental capacity to be open. And so who's already kind of felt the pressure that comes with funded challenges? Has anybody kind of been in the position where they're like, man, this funded challenge is no joke? And so what I did was, over the past couple of days and weeks, I've done my research on some of these behind the scene things that goes on with the funded challenges, because it's not as easy and as simple as just getting in a trade and next thing you know, you pass the funded challenge. I know a lot of professional traders who are like, you know what, these funded challenges are no joke. So guys, I'm actually just go straight into the notes. So the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is the time zones that these funded challenges are based off of. A lot of these firms are overseas, and they're not just PST or EST or central time zones. So the first thing I want you guys to write down is that these time zones are based off of Central European time zones, and that's the only time zone that they follow. Whether it's my Forex funds, whether it's the only one that's not as top tier trading, that is by Q Banks, Quillian Black. That's a good fun prop firm to go to. But if you're looking at FTMO, if you're doing my Forex funds, those are Central European time zones. So understand this, that will affect your max daily loss limit. Anybody understand what I mean by that? Because there are stipulations to how much you can lose. There are stipulations to how much drawdown you can be in, and that all goes towards a loss. So you must check that out and understand this. If you don't know where that's at, if you go in the back office, if you're doing a funded challenge, they have a time zone converter. Go ahead and check that out. So I'm going to go over that one more time. If you're on the West Coast and for example, let's talk about this. Is anybody doing a 50K or 100K challenge right now? If you are, throw some ones in the chat box. And if you understand the drawdown limit, or first of all, let me redirect that. Does anybody understand the drawdown limit in a funded challenge? And you can type in the chat box if you do or if you don't, and I'll kind of go through that. So if you're looking at doing a 50K or a 100K challenge, I think first and foremost, that's in your better interest than a 25K or a 10K. And the reason being is because if you do a $10,000 challenge or a $25,000 challenge, your room for error is extremely small. You kind of want to make sure that you have wiggle room, because in order to pass these challenges, you have to hit specific marks within a 30-day time frame, at least for phase 1. So on a 50K challenge, your drawdown limit might be like $2,500 a day. But if you hit that $5,000 loss, then you're cut out of the whole challenge itself. Has anybody ran into any of those issues yet, where they're like down 2,500 and they get an email where it says account breached? Anybody want to be transparent? Put like a 1 in the chat box. And I'm telling you this because you're going to want to make sure that if you're down a significant amount before the 24-hour time frame ends, you want to get out of any trades before before you lose. So for example, let's say you take a gold trade, right? And let's say you took my trade today and you got down 25 pips and you threw a standard lot, which is a $1 lot, which is $10 per pip, and you're down $2,500. Let's say you're down $2,200. What you would need to do is just get out of the trade and be done for the day. You never want to get to a place where you're down over 5% because they'll count any drawdown as a loss. And I need you guys to understand that. Just because you might not have lost the trade, they still will count that towards your loss for the day or for the whole entire challenge. So keep that in mind for one, and you can ask questions if that confuses you. The second thing I want to talk about is basically this, which is a floating loss. So the current daily loss will equal the results of closed positions for the current day and the results of open positions. So if you're in profit in most of your positions, but you're losing one of them, and it's a significant loss, that will go towards a loss more than will go towards a profit. Is that confusing at all? If that's confusing, throw some ones in the chat box, ask any questions, because this is an open mic type of situation. I don't want it to just be me just talking, but understand this. For those of you who have more understanding, yeah, I'll go ahead and repeat that. I would caption this one floating loss, and I would say the current daily loss, which you'll see that in your back office of the funded challenge on what your current daily loss can be, the results of the closed positions of the day. Okay, so a current daily loss equals the results of closed positions of the day plus the results of open positions. And if you have questions, I put my IG out there before. Feel free to ask and we can, conversate that through a DM or something like that. That way it's more personal, because I want you guys to win these challenges. Now, I put an asterisk next to this one, and I said, please use protective stop losses and take profit. And I put that in all capitals, take your profit. Like if you're reverse engineering a $50,000 account, you have to make, on my Forex fund, it's like $8,000. I believe it is, or 10, exactly, Nick. You can't lose 5%. You want to take your profit, and you must know where the trade is going before you enter. Like that's an absolute must. These challenges are like very strict, and I'm not trying to scare anybody away. I want you to understand what it's going to take to be funded. If you're somebody who's like on the teeter-totter of getting in a challenge, I would say if you do not have capital, do a challenge. The challenge is going to teach you risk management. It's going to teach you to use, the type of leverage that they have, which is 1 to 100. It's going to teach you to play within your means and not act like you're just going to ball out. And so take your profit, but know where your trade is going. Now, the number 3 note that I have here, and we can go back through these if you need me to. This is very important. Economic events. Remember, you are demo account trading until you're not. So this will not always reflect real market pricing on liquidity. So I'm going to say that one more time. Economic events, news, fundamentals, stuff like that. Demo account trading, that's what you're doing. That's what phase 1 and phase 2 is before you're funded. It will not always reflect real market price or on liquidity. So basically, if a news event hits, guys, like for example, you'll see me post in the B is Bay chat, hey guys, we have PMI or we have this, that, and the third. And so what I really recommend you do is don't put any sell limits, don't put any buy limits, and don't even put yourself in a position where you think I'm going to trade news right when it hits. Wait 2 minutes before the news, or wait 2 minutes after the news before you even think about entering a trade. I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to say this with respect to people taking these challenges are meant to lose. The statistics prove it, and I can show you the statistics. If you're looking to hedge, don't do it. Does anybody have no idea what hedging is? If so, put some ones in the chat box. Hedging is when you're looking to buy and looking to sell at the same time. And if you're somebody who's on the newer path of trading, I wouldn't do that. It's not because you're not good at trading. I would just say you're not the banks, so don't do what the banks do. The banks have tons of cash to hedge, and we don't. We're playing with a funded account. The broker will take that and run with it. So remember this, you're going to also want to trade a trending chart. And like I said, it's 1-to-1 risk to reward. So for example, today's trade I did with gold was a sell, but earlier this morning, it was a buy. The buy was a trending trade because it wasn't in a bullish market. So we decided to sell it again. If you're somebody who's going to trade a gold, trade a US 30 or a NAS or whatever indice on a funded account, I want you to understand, yes, you have the opportunity of making more profit, but you also have the opportunity of losing a challenge faster. Has anybody recognized that trading gold and trading in indices and stuff like that is sometimes a scary game? Has anybody ever been in a position where they're like, yeah, this US 30 just moves quick, or Nas moves quick, or even gold? We've had to cancel some because gold just moves absolutely quick. It will reverse so fast. And I'm telling you guys this because I want you to be able to trade these pairs, but I think it is in your better interest, especially those of you who are like trying to get it down. You might want to trade a GBP JPY or GBP CAD and stay away from the indices or gold or any of the commodity type of plays. Not because I don't want you guys to profit quicker, but if you get in a place of mental catch up, guys, that's a really unhealthy place to be when you're looking to trade. Try to limit yourself to 10 trades with the 50 to 75% win rate. You don't have to be 100% to pass these challenges. You don't have to be 75% to pass these challenges. So just keep that in mind. Now, here's a key that I will do. If you notice, it's a 30-day challenge. But if you ever notice in the fine print, it says you cannot pass the challenge within 10 days. Does anybody recognize that? They want you to take your time with these. I recommend the first 10 days of your trading, you do lower lot sizes. And then when it's after the 10-day situation, then you can start putting the heavy boys down, the heavy lot size down. So within your first 10 days, get yourself in a position of profitability. And then after that, you can look at going a little bit heavier. Don't put yourself in a position though where you're putting down 3 standards, 4 standards, 5 standards because you want to pass this trade challenge in the fastest way possible. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. But if you're in a position where you reverse engineer and know you need to catch maybe 30 pips a day, $300 a day, 333 or whatever it is, then you'll know that, okay, I'm in position to pass this challenge within the first 10 days, but I can't do it based upon their rules. Because if you did it within 9 days, they're going to tell you to, they'll actually email you and say, for the next 2 days, 3 days, whatever, until you pass, put 0.01s. You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to get you to still lose. They're trying to get you in a position where these trades don't line up. 0.01 is extremely small. That's micro lots. So you want to play the game very strategically here. So this is another thing that I've recognized. And if you don't have this in business, and if you don't have this in trading, if you don't have this at all, you're moving towards a failing target. You must have a daily routine every single day, and you must stick to it, especially for those of you who are building this business or a business. Because if you're like, hey, I'm going to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to go to the gym and do this, do that, and then trade, you might fail this challenge based upon the time zone you decide to trade in. If you know you're on for example, us Californians right here, or us people on the West Coast, here's the kicker. Here's the truth. You might need to go to sleep early so you can wake up early, 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. if that's what it's going to take, because these pairs move at specific times for you to catch the specific entry. Now, what else does that do for you? It does push you up against the wall a little bit to act out a specific way you might not have done before you started trading. But you're not like the people want to make the money. They want to pass these challenges, but they don't want to operate in the same frequency that it takes to pass these challenges and be a trader. It's not the easiest ball game. So that's why I'm trying to give you guys the insight that I've had, because I'm going to keep it 100%. I told people on a call the other day, I've blown 31 accounts. I've also lost 7 of these challenges before I passed it. So, that's just something that I want you guys to put into perspective, the pro and the con. Another thing, you must have a trading plan. Other than a daily routine, you must have a trading plan. You must have an entry and exit plan, and you must have only 1 to 3 pairs only. Like, guys, if you were somebody that's like, Nate, put me in your mentorship one-on-one, what are you going to do for me? I'm going to force you to trade 1 to 3 pairs. The first one's slow. The second one is mildly quick. And the third one is fast, but they all must correlate positive and negative. Why is that? Because if you're looking to pass this with a strategic plan, why would you not trade pairs that correlate positively and negatively so you can catch the bag simultaneously? Think about that. If I like gold, I also like GBP USD, and I also like Euro USD, because they follow each other. If I like gold, I wouldn't recommend USD JPY because it's an ugly pair. but that also allows you to be consistent. But also, guys, to kind of tie that part up, the daily routine, the trading plan, have structure in your day. If you don't have structure in your day, then you're just a lost cause when it comes down to these challenges, because the statistics show 92% of people will fail this challenge. And out of 10 people, 3 out of 10 people pass phase one. The 92% is people who fail and don't come back. 3 out of 10 people will pass phase one. 2 out of 10 people will pass phase two, which is half of what you did in phase one. And then for phase three, which I call the live part, where you can actually have the funded challenge and actually pay yourself, 1 out of 10 people who get the funded challenge actually get to withdraw. So has anybody here, and let's be honest here, has anybody been able to pass the challenge? If you have, press 1 or type 1, but not only pass it, but like funded, like withdrawn. Has anybody ever done that? I would love to know. So like I said, trade micro lots for your first 10 days. Okay, Nick said, yep. Now, here's another thing, guys, and please hear me out where I say this. This might correlate with, the situation here. Please do not trade every day. Like, please do not trade every day. You don't need to. You don't need to give into the pressure of the market is open. Oh my gosh, it's time to get the bag. For me, I analyze Sunday night. I might even analyze Monday. So for me, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is open. Friday, I don't even trade. Dom has to. Someone. If you have to, then you have to. But if you have to, you might not. You probably shouldn't trade. I'm gonna keep it real. Trading is not one of those things that you should do 5 days a week. Trading is one of those things that less is more. Like I said on my call today, and this is going to correlate with all of this, guys. So please hear me out. It was a tip that I got from my mentor. I'm not going to speak names. I'm definitely not going to do that. I've shot myself in the foot doing that. I'm going to bring this up real quick. One of the best tips that I ever got was this: create a habit of more time training your skills and back testing charts than trading. Why did he say that? Because if we position our skill, the trades would hit, should hit, and will hit, and profits can get bigger and better. Less time trading doesn't mean less profits. It means you choose high percentage over just anything. We should do the same thing with how we approach life. It's not always about more. So keep that in mind. So make sure you're consistent, number one, and make sure you're doing this for, the opportunity of growing. Before doing phase one, you need to practice on demo, guys. You're not going to just get into a challenge and just think that you're going to pass it. So I would go to ftmo.com, do the 14-day free challenge. That way you can position yourself as far as mindset and understanding what it's going to take to pass these challenges. We talked about this before on another call. When you step into a live trade, it's a lot different than demo, mental capacity and everything. Who here has felt the pressure of being in a live trade, being in drawdown, or even being in profit and not knowing where to take profit? And so, like, we're all very smart people on this call. We're all people who, understand entrepreneurship, but we can all agree that trading is a different type of beast. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I would just say, don't fall into the pressure, guys, because when you hit pressure brings all of its friends with them. Anxiety, losing a trade can bring some people depression, high blood pressure, like things that you might not think about. So really put yourself in that position. But understand this: once you get over 10%, over the 10%, yeah, don't open Pandora's box. Yeah. Once you get over 10% mark, guys, you're almost there. You're definitely almost there to the mark. So understand this too, guys. This call is not meant to go really long, but it's meant to bring up things that you guys might not look at before you enter a challenge. If you're not making 3 to 5% right now trading, that is why I say you need to do demo a little bit longer. If you've never withdrawn your own profits, I'm not going to tell you not to do a challenge. That just means that you've never felt the feeling of withdrawing. But when it comes down to a funded challenge and having the access to absolute, like, great profit and profitability, if you've never done 5% on your own, what makes you think you're going to do it on the challenge? The reason why I asked in the beginning if I can keep it real with you guys is because you don't make it to year 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 by just being in the same place, especially with trading. If you look at these funded challenges, you're going to read it's going to entice you to do these because the prop firm and the broker want to make their profit. And think about all the people that have the same goal as you do to be funded. You know, a lot of us don't have 5K to put in a trade account. A lot of us don't have 1K or even $500. You know, they're paying their monthly fee for B, or they're getting their, you know, wherever you're at. If you don't have it, you should just put yourself in a position to understand that this game of funded challenges is a mental game. It's either going to be a mental war. It's either going to be a mental battlefield, or you're going to understand what it's going to take, and it's not going to be a battlefield. The mindset is everything in this. So I want to kind of like go back real quick before there might be any questions. The first thing that I said is time zones. Pay attention to that. Not only do you need to pay attention to the fact that they're mostly on Central European time zones, what about your time zone? If you love gold because I trade gold, if you love gold because it's just the way it moves, blah, blah, blah. If you're Eastern time zone or if you're Central time zone, understand when the New York session is. If you're overseas, understand where the New York session is. The second thing that I brought up was the floating loss. What do I mean by that? To make it simple for you again, if you lost $500 on one trade, you didn't take a trade till later, but you lost $400 more, your loss for the day was $900. If it was heavier than that and it equaled over $1,000, $2,000, understand that it adds up within that 24-hour time frame. And as Nick said, don't lose 5%. Keep yourself in that 2% game, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you hurry to trade, you were premature to a trade, and then now you can't trade for the rest of the 24 hours, especially with good setups being put out. The third thing I said was watch out for economic events like news and fundamental things that you need to pay attention to. The other thing I said was don't hedge. You want to make sure that you understand the trending chart. If it's a buy, it's a buy. If it's a sell, it's a sell. Don't try to go against it by doing a buy and sell at the same time. That's absolute. That's just you're playing a ball game. You're not going to win. And then understand this. Try to limit yourself to 10 trades. If I were you, I would take 2 to 3 trades a day if you need to, if you didn't get it on the first, and call it a day. I would limit yourself to maybe 6 trades a week, maybe 9 if you do the math right, and if you put yourself in a position to be profitable on most. You don't need to be 100%, you don't need to be 90 or 80 or 70, but put yourself above 60% and you should do just fine. There was a statistic someone said a long time ago that you can be 4 out of 10 profitable and still be, you know, successful at trading. I don't think any of us should have the mindset, other than maybe sales, that 40% is a winning percentage. It isn't in sports. It isn't anywhere else, unless you're, you know, like I said, some things it's good, but in this case, I wouldn't look at that as a good thing. The trading plan is a must. The routine is a must. To be structured is a must. And then overall, guys, I would just say stay consistent. Do the demo first, and then we can talk about stepping into the actual challenge itself. So I'm going to kind of like leave this open for any questions you guys might have, but I wanted to kind of go over this with you because I've overheard some people talking about the challenges. I've overheard some people talking about how this is, you know, very tough for them and they don't even know if they want to trade no more. And I'm doing this because I want you guys to understand you can pass these challenges. You can definitely pass these challenges. One other thing before I open the floor, and understand I say this out of love. If you follow David or if you follow Gus, stick with them. Don't follow Nate. And because I don't want you to get confused. I don't want you to get confused on what he's doing, she's doing, and he's doing. Follow your educator. Follow the person that has the results that you want. You know, if you love Gus, it's Gus. If you love David, it's David. You know, I'm not ever going to come on here and say it needs to be Nate. If it's me, I'm blessed. I'm grateful. But at the end of the day, I know that my challenge or my trading style is not for everybody. So follow who gets you the results that you want. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the little bit of knowledge that I wanted to bring to the table. I'm not going to post any like numbers in the chat. I don't think that's very appropriate. But, you know, just to give you an idea on how people are doing in these challenges before you do, they're not bad. 31% of people, guys, will pass phase 1, which is a significant rise from what it used to be. But the percentage of traders who pass phase 2 is 14%. So how are you going to be the 1 out of 10? Not only that, but the most profitable symbol is actually GBP CAD. You want to know what the least profitable one is? Is gold. Don't trade gold on these funded challenges. The number of traders who reached 8 or more payouts but lost their account in February is 6 out of 10 traders. That's the majority. And then Is it possible though? Are people getting paid out? Yes. Over 2,700 people on each platform are getting paid out. And the largest payout someone's got in, like, let's say February of this year, which is the biggest of all year, is $54,000. So, you know, people are getting paid, y'all. Like, people are getting paid. So keep that in mind. What was the most profitable pair? It was GBP CAD, which is honestly one of my favorite pairs. I just don't put it out on shift or anything like that. I'll tell you right now, going into 2023, I know people are like, Nate's the gold trader, but I'm open to trading other pairs like GBP CAD. If you guys would ever trade GBP CAD, I would love to, you know, put you on game to that one. But to go over, does this work? It does work, guys. $6.2 million in payouts have been issued. So, you know, it works, but the numbers, they're always going to be tough. And here's more statistics. 34% of Americans are funded in live. 23% of Europeans are funded in live. 22% of Africans are funded in live. 18% of people in Asia are funded in live. And the other that I didn't even see coming is Oceania. Oceania, I think that's how you say it, where 3% of people will get funded. So in America, if you're in America, 3.4 out of 10 people. If you're overseas, it's under 3 out of 10 people. So this call is important because if you're looking to go up against the odds, you got to be prepared mentally. You know what I'm saying? So does anybody have any questions for me on this? I'll leave the floor open for you guys. And if this was good info that helped you out, put some flames in the chat box. You know, this helped me out because I knew what I was going up against. You know, I wasn't just going to come into this thing acting like I've been in this game for so long, I'm about to get it, because it showed me who the boss was a few times. So, and let me put it on this. The best tip to get funded. Okay. If you catch, okay, let's say you trade GBP CAD. Well, the best tip to be funded is reverse engineer the goal. I know that's so like cliche, but if you're looking to get, like, let's say you're doing my Forex funds and it's $8,000 for phase one. If there's a 30-day trade limit, divide that by 30, that's $266 a day. That's very doable. That's extremely doable. That's like 26 pips a day. You can do that in 2 trades of 10 plus pips, whatever. So reverse engineer the goal. 200 to 300 bucks a day is going to pass you this challenge. If you're like, Nate, I can make more in a day, cut that greed muscle out and move forward. 200, $300, 250, 260 to 300 bucks a day will get you passing a 50K challenge. How much do you suggest to risk after you are live with your account? Same thing. The same rules apply to the funded challenges. Once you're live, you can still lose that challenge. That's why 1 out of 10 people will only withdraw. Meaning, like, if they, if I pass the challenge today, but I go against the 5% rule of losing, like, the only things that are different is you don't have a time frame. You're not going up against 30 days, but you are going up against the stop loss rule and you are going up against the floating loss rule still. So how you lose after passing challenge? You can lose because you're not abiding by the risk management rules. So for example, if you're down 5%, they'll cut that loss because they're funding you their cash flow. It's their money. You know what I'm saying? So the cool thing about like a top tier trading challenge is they have new rules that apply better for us, you know, doing the challenges. For example, here's one that I was going to show you guys. They've made improvements. So before, the minimum trading days was 7, but now it's 4, meaning like you would have to trade 7 days minimum before passing, but now you can do it in 4. Remember how I said if you do the first 10 days with the micro lot? Well, now they've labeled that to 4. You can pass this thing in 4 days. Usually it takes 30 days for the first payout split, but now they allow 14 days. So that's a cool thing. And then phase 2, which was usually 60 days to pass, they've made it longer. So you now have 70 days to pass phase 2, 30 days for phase 1, and now 70 days for phase 2, which is pretty cool. So what's happening if you lose? If you lose, you lose. You don't get the money back, because most of these challenges will say, hey, pay a significant amount, and then once you pass the challenge, we'll refund you. But if you don't pass, like if they refund you, let me not confuse you, you get that money back regardless. But if you get funded 50K, 25K, whatever, 100K, that money is yours. But if you go against their rules still, you're out of funded challenge and you have to do it all over again. So that's information that you should know. So feel free to, can you get blacklisted? I don't think you can unless you're absolutely like a tyrant and you don't abide by the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like if you cuss out support or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that you can get blacklisted. I've never seen anybody get blacklisted unless they're trying to do it with multiple names under the same email or whatever. I think that there's restrictions with that. Maybe Nick Gregorio, and the reason why I bring up Nick is because he's like a walking encyclopedia with stuff, you know, so he'll pull out information I had no clue he knew. Where you got all the info, is there like a website? What I did was I went to every one of these funded challenges websites and I looked at their rules and their information that nobody knows about. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and this is totally left field, it's like a 401k. A lot of people think 401ks are great, but they don't know about the hidden fees. You know, you got to look into that type of stuff. They do have a YouTube channel, most definitely. It's like, oh, I love my 401k. Wait a minute. Why is this fee being taken out? Why is that fee taken? It's the same thing with all of these challenges that people get so enticed about. You know, there's so many hidden this, hidden that you have to like dig deep and read into. Yeah, I would say take the 14-day free challenge. It's not the same, necessarily same rules, but it's going to give you information and understand what you're going up against. Exactly, Nick. Most definitely. Yeah. Nick knows what I'm talking about. Those are great questions though. And even if you're not looking to do a funded challenge, as a leader on here, you can guide your people and be like, this is what I know about it. That way the credibility is extremely built. You know, I think that's what separates this team from most. If you really want my honest truth, I'm a trader. You know, like I told Nick, I said, I'm a trader before. I'm a businessman too, but it's as a trader, like you hear a lot of people try to talk the jargon, and some people I'm like, what do you know, no. But then some people I'm like, oh yeah, you know, they actually have legitimacy behind their words. You know, so I think it's impressive here. Any other questions? If not, you know, I'll give it back to Alina. You know, that's basically why I thought this call would have been, you know, legit, because not because I'm giving the information, but I know that I put time into actually getting the information that could help people get over a hump. So I appreciate you guys if you got a lot of value out of that.
I got a lot of value, that's for sure. So thank you so much, Nate, for this call. That was really necessary, I feel like, because yes, we talked about like how to do, you know, how to start a funding account, but a lot of people don't know like how to go through that, especially like mindset wise and stuff like that. So that was really, really helpful.
Yeah.
I think everyone on here got a lot of gems. I was really scared to do the challenge, but this was yes. Okay, so you got a lot of feedback. I love that. Thank you so much for being on that call here. And I'm gonna put that on our new YouTube channel, guys, and also in the main news channel. So if you want to rewatch that and retake notes, make sure to do that. I'm gonna upload it in a minute. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Nate.
Yeah.
Bye,
Last
guys.
thing I'll say is last thing I'll say is maybe maybe don't trade with lyrics. Like when you're listening to music and you're in the zone trading, don't do it with lyrics. Put on some instrumentals, you know, set the tone of where you're at, because this is a mind game, you know what I'm saying? So I use instrumentals. I do New Jabez Radio if you're listening to Pandora, VYBO on YouTube, Chill Hop, instrumentals, you know, Mozart, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing. You know, that's all I was gonna say.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye,
Have a good
guys.
one.